What happens when a benched player finally gets her shot? Lexie Hull stepped onto the court and flipped the script for the Rose Basketball Club, delivering a performance that shattered doubts and secured their first win of the season. Stay tuned. This is the breakout moment you don't want to miss. But before we proceed, please support us by hitting that subscribe button for more updates. It costs you nothing, but it means a lot to us.
The absolute best part about Unrivaled Day 4 were the 10 minutes that Lexie Hull played.
Lexie Hull just stepped onto the court and left an unforgettable mark, a performance that shook the very foundations of the league. In one electrifying game, she silenced every skeptic, outshone the once dominant Angel Reese, and delivered the Rose Basketball Club their long-awaited first victory of the season. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Hull's game wasn't about proving her worth, it was about redefining what this team stands for. Stay with us as we uncover how Lexie Hull not only redefined the game, but also sparked a new era of hope and inspiration for the Roses. The Rose Basketball Club's start to the season couldn't have been rockier. They looked more like a team finding their footing than a contender for greatness.
Both teams had not had a win yet. I called it the battle of the defeated. One team was going to come away with a win, and that one team was Rose. And the player that helped make it happen was Lexie Hull.
With 0 wins, shaky play, and no sense of identity, things appeared grim. At the center of this chaos was a familiar issue, an over-reliance on individual performance rather than teamwork. And at the heart of it, Angel Reese, a player with undeniable star power, but a style of play that didn't connect with the team's most pressing needs. Her stats dazzled on paper, but the reality was a far cry from victory. It wasn't just the absence of teamwork holding them back, it was the lack of vision, a spark, a leader, and cohesion. The Roses had potential, yet the disconnect was so glaring that it begged the question, how could this team turn things around?
Lexie Hull, riding the bench over there in Unrivaled, has caused some speculations about Lexie Hull to be stirred up again, because we were trying to figure out, why isn't she able to get any time on the court?
All the while, Lexie Hull, a lethal shooter and unmatched defender, waited quietly on the sidelines. Across 2 entire games, she played a grand total of 8 minutes. 8! For a player of her talent, that wasn't just puzzling, it felt like a travesty. Fans called it out, analysts questioned it, even her teammates probably wondered why the spark they needed was still on the bench. While Hull watched helplessly, the Roses struggled through back-to-back losses. Their offense sputtered. Angel Reese shined individually, piling on stats, but her numbers weren't bringing wins. The team was slow, predictable, and lacked the energy to dominate opponents. As for defense, it was a glaring weakness. Opposing teams ran circles around them, exploiting mismatches and controlling the pace. The Roses needed a savior, a player who could energize the court on both ends, and Hull was sitting right there. Her value wasn't just about scoring. Hull's defensive instincts and her ability to lock down key players, disrupt plays, and shift the momentum could have transformed the Roses' game entirely. The pieces were right in front of them, but the coach's decision to keep her sidelined left everyone scratching their heads. The frustration grew louder with every loss. Fans demanded answers, critics speculated on wasted potential, and just when it seemed like nothing would change, a pivotal moment shifted the course of the season. Everything about the Roses and Lexie Hull's future was about to change, forever.
Being a nail biter, folks. It was kind of even. They were both playing pretty bad in the beginning. Not terrible, but they weren't playing great. But as the game went on, it was pretty obvious that the Rose was the dominant team until the foul situation caught up with them. And by the end of the third quarter, the Mist had scored 14 points just
in their third game of the season. The Rose Basketball Club finally gave Hull her long-awaited chance, and she turned it into a performance for the ages. From the moment she stepped onto the court, Hull was unstoppable, leaving no doubt about her value to the team. She exploded with 19 points, hitting an unbelievable 8 of 11 shots, and backed it up with 3 assists and 3 rebounds. It wasn't just her numbers that stood out, it was the way she played with precision, confidence, and an undeniable presence.
We who have watched the Indiana Fever, we know what Lexie Hull can do. We really were thinking, come on now, coach, what's the deal here? Well, she got in the game early on Saturday night, and I guarantee you, Nola Henry, the coach, and the coaching staff, definitely not disappointing.
Hull's performance wasn't just impressive, it was transformative. She didn't just score points, she reshaped the way her team functioned on offense. Her pinpoint shooting stretched the defense, forcing opponents to cover more ground and giving her teammates room to operate. But Hull wasn't a one-trick pony relying solely on her three-point shot. She showcased fearless aggression, driving to the basket with purpose and scoring 14 points in the paint. Her sharp instincts and ability to read defensive setups made her a constant threat every time she touched the ball. On the defensive side, Hull was equally impactful. Her intense on-ball defense made life miserable for opposing players, and her keen anticipation allowed her to disrupt passing lanes, forcing turnovers at crucial moments. In a fast-paced, player-focused format like 3-on-3 basketball, where individual contributions can make or break the team, Hull's all-around game fit like a glove. What made Hull's performance even more compelling was the backdrop against which it occurred. While Hull shined, Angel Reese, once seen as the team's centerpiece, struggled noticeably. Reese, who had dominated the spotlight in the first 2 games, saw limited action, playing just 8 minutes and contributing an underwhelming 4 points alongside 3 turnovers and 4 fouls. The contrast between Hull's dynamic play and Reese's ineffective performance was stark and unavoidable. Reese's troubles revealed deeper issues. Her reliance on isolation plays and pick and rolls didn't blend well with the quick, fluid nature of 3-on-3 basketball. While Reese could post big numbers in traditional formats, her style bogged down the team's offense, making it predictable and slow. Hull, on the other hand, was everything the Roses had been missing: quick, decisive, and in sync with the game's pace. Hull's breakout game was about far more than stats. It was about how she played. Her off-ball movement was a masterclass in creating scoring opportunities. She kept defenders guessing, perfectly timing her cuts to the basket and consistently finding open spots on the perimeter. She didn't force the game to come to her, she flowed with it, taking shots that made sense and capitalizing on every opportunity. Her basketball IQ shined as brightly as her shot, making her efficiency the product of both skill and smarts. On defense, Hull was relentless. She matched up against some of the league's top talents and more than held her own. Whether it was staying in front of her opponent, contesting shots, or switching to cover multiple positions, she brought a level of versatility that had been missing in the Roses' previous games. Even more remarkable was how Hull's presence uplifted her teammates. With her on the floor, the Roses played like a completely different team. The ball moved faster, the spacing improved, and the players looked energized and engaged. It was as if Hull's confidence and energy were contagious, spreading to every corner of the court. For Hull, this performance was a turning point, a statement to everyone that she wasn't just a role player, but a difference maker. The game proved her value in the most undeniable way. Now, the question is what this means for the Roses moving forward. Will Coach Nola Henry capitalize on this momentum and make Hull a cornerstone of the team's strategy? Or will they revert to their previous playbook, relying on Reese's individual output at the cost of team rhythm? The Roses find themselves at a critical juncture. They've seen Hull's transformative effect. They know what happens when her talents are utilized fully. The choice is now theirs, and it's a decision that could define their season. Yet this story is about more than Hull's breakout. It's also a broader lesson. Her game is a reminder of the value of adaptability, effort, and teamwork. Hull showed that impact players aren't defined solely by how many points they score, but by how much they improve the game for everyone around them. For rising stars in the WNBA, such as Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, Hull's performance is a blueprint for success. She demonstrated that versatility, quick thinking, and selfless play can stand out even among elite talent. But for Hull, this is just the beginning. Far from being a player waiting for her shot, she's now firmly established herself as someone who belongs on the court. Her contributions made a compelling case that she's ready to step into a larger role, and she has no intention of stepping back. The ripple effects of Hull's 19-point breakout game go far beyond one night. The Roses entered the season as a team brimming with potential, headlined by Angel Reese. On paper, they were supposed to be dominant, with Reese expected to power them to success. Yet talent alone couldn't solve their issues. What the Roses truly needed wasn't just a superstar, it was a system that worked. Hull, as it turns out, could be the key to unlocking that system. Reese's struggles further highlighted how essential Hull's skill set is to the team. Reese's slower, isolation-heavy style often stalled the offense. While Hull brought movement, rhythm, and quick decision-making that energized the team. Hull's emergence wasn't just a personal triumph, it was a wake-up call for the Roses. With Hull as a central figure, the team looked cohesive and engaged, ready to take on any opponent. Now the ball is in their court. Lexie Hull didn't just play the game, she changed it. With her breakout performance, she proved she's a game changer the Roses can't ignore. The question is, will they harness her brilliance moving forward? Stay tuned for what's next.